Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome back, everybody. This is our lecture number 11. I'll quickly summarize the project and where we are at. When we plan this lecture series, we call it Season 1, like a Netflix show, and we planned 12 lectures. So far, we have done 10, one every month, and this is our 11th lecture from Risale-i Nur. And the topic is remedies to the sick. Very relevant to everybody because we are all sick at some point, or we got someone nearby, a family member, friend, or colleagues at work. Someone is ill at any point. So we're going to talk about Bediüzzaman's approach to sickness and illnesses and how to deal with it and how to console someone who is not feeling well. So this is the topic of today's talk. And after this, we're going to have the last lecture of the series, which is going to be next month. We're going to talk about the seeds of the devil. And inshallah, God willing, we're going to plan season 2 for the next year. Right. Let me share my screen as I always do, because the idea is to follow the text. So it is this screen. Probably you're seeing the timetable. As I said, this is remedies to the sick. So let's go to the text itself. Uh, when in Turkish it is Hastalar Risalesi. It is remedies to the sick. But when I talk about this piece of Risale-i Nur, I keep my coverage a bit wider. So it is not necessarily people who are suffering from a disease, but it is musibah, calamities and tribulations in general. So all the remedies listed in this piece actually covers general uh, calamities that we face every day in our lives, be it financial, emotional, I don't know, political, uh, whatever. It could cover all of them because it puts where you stand in relation to your maker into perspective. If you understand where you stand, all these remedies help a lot. So, without further ado, let's start reading. As I said, this is the 25th flush. Remember, there are four main books in Risale-i Nur collection: the words, the letters, the flushes. Sometimes you may hear it as the gleams because we got two translations. This translation I'm following is Mary Wells' translation. She is a famous British woman from Durham, where I did my PhD, and her name is Shukran Wahide. So if you are curious, I stick to her translation because it is quite uh, authentic sounding. So if you read the original text and read English, they sound quite similar. There is another translation done by Hüseyin Akarsu, that is Ali Ünal, and he chose The Gleams as the title. The original book is called Lemalar. So you don't get confused because this happens a lot. When I say, oh, we're going to read a piece from The Flushes, and people say, oh, which book is that? Because I've been reading The Gleams. So it is basically the same book with two different English translation titles. So the 25th flush. Message for the sick. This treatise, this risale, this treatise consists of 25 remedies. It was written as a solace and a prescription for the sick, and in order to visit them and wish them a speedy recovery. I think the idea behind Bediüzzaman writing this piece, it is sunnah to visit if someone is not feeling well. And in the modern context, we tend to buy some flowers and some chocolate and this sort of stuff. But Bediüzzaman is teaching us another way. So if someone is ill, yeah, by all means, get him some flowers and chocolate, but also get a copy of this Risale and give it to him or her. Probably they are in a hospital or they are in bed, they haven't got much to do. Probably they're gonna just flick through the pages and read what Bediüzzaman wrote almost 100 years ago, because it is a psychological cure to the ill person. So you read anyone not feeling well, they are definitely going to feel better. I tend to read it for myself because a lot of people think, you're happy, you live in England. I mean, everything is tiki de boo, everything should be fantastic. But it's not the case. Everybody, even like Hollywood stars, A-list celebrities, they got their problems. Everybody has their own share of problems in their lives. So we all need to read. You can't really say, "Oh, I'm really well, uh, so I don't need to read this." No, no, no. Read it. It helps a lot. So probably Bediüzzaman wrote this as a general gift to everybody who is not feeling well. Warning and apology. This immaterial prescription, it is a prescription. You're ill, you go to the doctor and you expect him to write something like paracetamol or some medicine, some ointments, some treatment. Bediüzzaman calls this immaterial prescription, was written with a speed greater than all my other writings. And since time could not be found to correct and study it, unlike all the others, it was read only once. And that at great speed, like its composition. That is to say, it has remained in the disordered state of a first draft. I did not consider it necessary to go over carefully the things which had occurred to me in a natural manner, lest they be spoiled by arranging them and paying them undue attention. Readers, and especially the sick, should not feel upset and offended at any disagreeable expressions or harsh words and phrases. Let them rather pray for me. He says, we didn't copy edit this. Normally, when Bediüzzaman writes a piece of treatise, Risale, he sends out for duplication. Each time it was written by hand. So he receives those copies and he copy edits them. Because it's handwritten, he corrects if there are any mistakes. And on this one, he didn't do it. He didn't copy edit. He says, this just came as a natural, sincere inspiration from my heart to my sick brothers and sisters. I didn't copy edit. It is original. And I apologize if it hurts anyone, which it might. Because if someone is suffering, probably they are feeling very low, very angry in most cases. And when you tell the person some harsh words, they might get offended. And Bediüzzaman says this might happen. It's natural. You're not feeling well, you're low, and you're weak. Instead of being angry with me, say dua to me. Rather pray for me. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. Those who say, when afflicted by calamity, to God do we belong, and to Him is our return. İnna lillah ve inna ileyhi raciun. اَلَّذ۪ينَ اِذَا أَصْحَابَتُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا اِنَّا لِلّٰهِ وَاِنَّا اِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. That is the original Quranic verse. Who gives me food and drink, and when I am ill, it is He who cures me. So remember the methodology of Risale-i Nur. It is a Quranic topical commentary. It opens up with a Quranic verse or verses and builds an argument, makes explanation around those Quranic verses. In this flush, we describe briefly 25 remedies which may offer true consolation and a beneficial cure for the sick and those struck by disaster who form 1/10 of mankind. Probably these days it's even more. Everybody is ill somehow. The first remedy: unhappy sick person. Do not be anxious. Have patience. Your illness is not a malady for you, it is a sort of cure. What does that mean? You're sick, Bediüzzaman says it is not a malady, but it is a cure. How could that be? I can't even speak. I can't even sleep. I got temperature. I'm sweating. I got sore throat. I can't eat. I feel terrible. How could this be a cure? This is how. For life departs like capital. If it yields no fruits, it is wasted. We got set amount of time in this life. Some live 40 years, some live 80, some live a bit more, but eventually everybody dies. Undeniable fact of life. Everybody is given a limited capital. And in most cases, especially these days, it is all wasted on, I don't know, social media, Netflix, some daily chores. We call person lucky if he's doing his 5 daily prayer and if he's fasting 1 month in the month of Ramadan. If he's avoiding, main sins. But other than that, people usually tend to waste their lives. So Bediüzzaman says, your life is a capital. If it yields no fruit, it is wasted. And if it passes in ease and heedlessness, it passes swiftly. As we say in English, good times pass quickly. Illness makes that capital of yours yield huge profits. You're gonna live that 24 hours regardless. If you are not ill, if everything is fantastic, it's just gonna fly. Probably you're gonna waste it with some fun activity, some useless stuff. But if you're ill, it's gonna bring some profit. It does not allow your life to pass quickly. It restrains it and lengthens it so that it will depart after yielding its fruits. An indication that your life is lengthened through illness is the following much repeated proverb. The times of calamity are long, time of musibah feels long, the time of happiness most brief. So the first motivation, Bediüzzaman says, if we are ill, It is not a calamity, it's not a musibah. It is actually a bonus for you because it's going to bring some fruit. It's going to bring some profit to you. Let's carry on. Let's carry on. How, how does it work? Oh, ill person, second remedy. Who lacks patience? Be patient. Indeed, offer thanks. Your illness may transform each of the minutes of your life into the equivalent of an hour's worship. So if you're sick, if you're suffering, and if you show perseverance, and if you're still grateful to God, you can actually earn a lot more good deed compared to doing your usual worship. For worship is two kinds. It's a terminology introduced by Bediüzzaman. One of our colleagues, many years ago, she was studying. She was one of the students doing PhD on Risale-i Nur, and she was studying this piece. I read her thesis, which became a book later, and she was also saying, "Oh, this positive worship, müsbet ibadet, versus negative worship, menfi ibadet." She says, "Oh, this is original. This is very much Risale-i Nur thing." So Bediüzzaman is saying there are two types of worship. The first group is the one we know, giving charity, doing saum, fasting, doing prayers, etc. These are all positive worship. And he says there is also negative worship. What does that mean? Let's dive deep into this. Worship is two kinds. One is positive, like well-known worship of supplication and the five daily prayers, which we do. These are regular positive worship. The other are negative forms of worship, like illness and calamities. So, Bediüzzaman is telling when you are ill, when you are under musibah, you are in the phase of negative worship. By means of these, that means illness and calamities, hastalık ve musibet, illness and calamities, those afflicted realize their impotence and weakness. They beseech their all compassionate Creator and take refuge in Him. They manifest worship which is sincere and without hypocrisy. Yes, there is a sound narration stating that life passed in illness is counted as a worship for believer on condition he does not complain about God. So this appears in uh, these books. So Bediüzzaman is telling us you can do positive worship, the regular ones, but when you're ill or when you're hit by a musibah, you are in the negative worship category. So every minute, if you persevere, if you show patience, and if you show gratefulness, and if you say dua to your maker, you earn a lot more hasanat by means of perseverance, by not rebelling and objecting to Allah. That's the condition. So the sick person, sadly, I think that's what I mainly observe. If a person is sick or under musibah, the first thing is they challenge God. They fight with Allah Ta'ala. This is the first thing they do. They say, why is he giving me all this trouble? I've been a very good person. Why am I? No, you cannot challenge Allah Ta'ala. So that's the first condition. You do not complain about Allah. That's the first condition. And you show patience, sabr. You show perseverance. and you're still grateful uh, to the condition you're in. That is what negative worship is. Show patience, show gratitude, and do not complain. It is even established by sound narrations by the Prophet ﷺ, and by those who uncover the realities of creation, that 1 minute of illness of some people who are completely patient and thankful becomes the equivalent of an hour's worship, and a minute's illness of certain perfected men the equivalent of a day's worship. So instead of worshiping one full day, you spend 1 minute of illness with patience, with gratefulness, without complaining to Allah Ta'ala. 1 minute, 1 day worth of worship. What have we got in one day? 24 hours times 60 minutes times, uh, okay, so let me just do the maths for you. So according to this, uh, by persevering to musibah and illnesses for 1 minute without complaining, with patience and with gratefulness to Allah, you can earn 1 day's worth of hasanat. So 1 day is 24 hours, 60 minutes in 1 hour, 1,440 times. If you are in investment and stock and cryptocurrency, you know how much profit this is. One, you get 1,440 times. So if the person has faith in Allah, in God in general, because you can read this to a Christian person, even Jewish person, if they have genuine faith in God, it sits in perfectly. They say, yeah, it is true. Allah is not punishing me. Allah is giving me an investment opportunity. He is making me sick. I got this cold for about a week now. And every day you take paracetamol medicine and you eat oranges and you try to recover quickly. But when you read the second remedy from Risale Nur, you think like, oh, I wish I was sick a bit longer because it is such a good deal. Don't complain, show patience, and be grateful. So you can get 1,440 times uh, multiple of your uh, regular worship. So you should not complain about an illness which, as though transforms 1 minute of your life into 1,000 minutes and gains for you long life. You should offer thanks. Right, the third remedy. You know, when you're sick, you go to the doctor, he gives you some remedies. He says, okay, I'm gonna give you 4 remedies. You take a hot bath, you take paracetamol. Before you go to bed, you take some night nurse and you eat lots of uh, oranges and lemons. So, but if someone is giving you another set of remedies, he says, I'm gonna leave you regular remedies to your doctor and your pharmacy, but I'm gonna give you proper spiritual remedies. The third one, excuse me, impatient sick person. The fact that those who come to this world continuously depart, and the young grow old, and man perpetually revolves amid death and separation, testifies that he did not come to this world to enjoy himself and receive pleasure. This is obvious. This is how life works. You continuously work, you continuously test it, you continue to suffer physically, mentally, medically, financially. This is life. No matter what you do in life, this is how life works. Then you understand, hang on a minute, having pleasure cannot be the purpose of this life. By looking at how life has been operating for millions of years, there should be some higher purpose in this. Moreover, while man is the most perfect, the most elevated of living beings, and the best endowed in regard to members of the faculties, he dwells on past pleasures and future pains, and so passes a grievous, troublesome life lower than the animals. Men, human beings, are even worse than animals because animals suffers, they forget, they recover, and it's just business as usual because they don't have memory. Most animals, certain animals like elephants, they tend to remember things longer. But generally, animals don't have long memories, so they don't really suffer much. And more importantly, animals don't have anxiety about future because for a cow, life is the moment he's enjoying, just grazing in pastures. Whereas human beings, we are different. Even when you are the most comfortable, you are planning ahead. You are thinking about the future of your children. Even you haven't got anything else to worry about. You're thinking, oh, children, when they're gonna grow up, are they gonna go to university? How are they gonna be successful? So you think years ahead, and you naturally have anxiety all the time that animals don't. This means this means the state of remembering the past and thinking about future and feeling anxious, that's the human condition, means that men did not come to this world to live in a fine manner and pass his life in ease and pleasure. Rather, he possesses vast capital and he came here to work and do trade for eternal, everlasting life. So, this is the lesson we understand. The capital given to man is his life. Your life is your capital. Had there been no illness, good health and well being would have caused heedlessness, for they show the world to be pleasant and make the hereafter forgotten. So, if everything is perfect in your life, you tend to forget that you are here temporarily to be tested. You are here to invest for the hereafter. You tend to forget this until you get sick, until you're hit with musibah. You suddenly remember, say, hang on, we are susceptible. Life is short. I might die any moment. You become more self conscious and you become more akhirah oriented person. Test this with anyone. You find people who have permanent illnesses, they are spiritually higher generally. They got this connection established quite well. They are more aware of their mortality. Whereas people who are healthy and fit and rich and have very few problems in their lives, they tend to live as if there is no tomorrow, as if there is no life after death. So we call this heedlessness. So if the person does not think about the life after death, does not think about the hereafter, that person is a heedless person. Okay, they forget the hereafter. They do not want death and the grave to be thought of. Those people, when you talk about death, they say, "Oh, change the subject, man. It's no, no, let's not talk about this." They don't want to hear. They cause the capital of life to be wasted on trifles. Whereas illness suddenly opens the eyes. It says to the body, "You are not immortal. You have not been left to your own devices. You have a duty. Give up your pride. Think of the one who created you. Know that you will enter the grave. So prepare yourself for it." It's a wake up call, it's a reminder. The moment people get sick, the moment you hit by a musibah, calamity, it's a wake up call. From this point of view, illness is an admonishing guide, an advisor that never deceives. It should not be complained about in this respect. Indeed, should be thanked for. And if it is not too severe, patience should be sought to endure it. The fourth remedy, plaintiff, ill person, person who is ill and complaining. Plaintiff. Excuse me, I'll have a sip. You have no right to complain. This is the general rule of any person who believes in Allah, who believes in God, who believes in the hereafter. It could be Christian, it could be Jewish. Anyone believing in God, that is the default position. You have no right to complain. How come? What is due to you is to offer thanks and be patient. For your body and members and faculties are not your property. You did not pay money for them. I can't see quite well without my glasses, but I can't say, "Oh, I can't see. Why is this happening to me? Oh, why did I put too much weight? Oh, my back hurts. Why am I not rich? Why do I not drive a Tesla? Why do I not have a bigger house?" I cannot say this. You cannot complain because these are all given to you by someone. You did not earn them. You did not pay for them. You did not make them, nor did you buy them from other workshops. That means they are someone else's property. Your health, your wealth, your body, everything. It's not yours. And the owner has disposal over his property as he wishes. مالك الملك يتصرف في ملكها كيفما يشاء. The owner of the property can do whatever he wants to do on his property. It is his. It is not yours. You cannot complain. Since we are on this, we were talking about, I think, some abortion or some tattooing or piercing. Uh, you can watch on Instagram Reels or those short videos. My body, my choice. It's very common. My body, my choice. I do what? No. It is how come it's your body? Where did you get it from? How did you earn it? How did you make it? It is lent to you. You are the temporary keeper of your body, which is not your body. You are the temporary keeper of this body. You name it, my body. It's not yours. It is being lent to you. There is a very good example. of my good old PhD supervisor, Colin Turner. May God give him good health and long life. He says, imagine someone comes up to you and he says, "Hey man, I got this Rolex watch, very expensive. There is no way you can afford this, but I'm gonna lend it to you so you can wear it. So you got this graduation event or whatever event. I'll lend it to you, you can wear it. Now you're wearing the watch. Would you just go and scratch it, smash it, damage it, give it to someone else? You cannot do that. It's not yours. It's been lent to you temporarily. It's so precious. And Colin Turner says, life and your body is a bit like that expensive Rolex watch being lent to you temporarily. You don't own it. You didn't buy it. You didn't make it. Someone with wealth and power lent it to you. In other words, Allah temporarily lent you this body for a period of time. We are accountable for keeping it in good shape. So you cannot say, oh, it's my body. I don't care. I'm gonna drink. I'm gonna do drugs. I'm gonna have tattoos. You cannot say this. From a believer's perspective, this is an amana. It's a trust given to us temporarily. We have to look after it, and we cannot claim ownership of it. As is related in the 26 words, an extremely wealthy and skillful craftsman, for example, employs a poor man as a model in order to show off his fine art and considerable wealth. In return for a wage, for a brief hour, he clothes the poor man in a bejeweled and skillfully wrought garment. He works it on him and gives it various states. In order to display the extraordinary varieties of his art, he cuts the garment, alters it, lengthens it, shortens it. Does the poor wage earner, the model, have the right to say to the person who hired him for a wage, the model, you are causing me trouble. You are causing me distress with the form you have given it, making me bow down and stand up. Has he the right to tell him that he is spoiling his fine appearance by trimming and shortening the garment which makes him beautiful? Can he tell him he is being unkind and unfair? This is a perfect example. So in this analogy, we are all this paid model. We receive our wages by the maker, and the maker is exercising his names and attributes on us. He is making us sick so he can reveal his name, the healer, Ash-Shafi. He is making us poor, then he gives us wealth. He is showing his name, the rich, Al-Ghani. He is putting us in distress. He is revealing his name, distresser, Al-Qabid. Then he gives us happiness, and he's revealing another of his name. So we are the paid models. We got our wages in advance. And Allah is practicing and showing his names and attributes on us. We have no right to complain. We belong to him. We already received our payment by owning what we own, the most precious of which is life, which is the reflection of Ism Hay. Allah is ever living, and He is giving some of that life attribute to us. That is the ultimate advance payment. So we have no right to complain. O sick person, just like in this comparison, in order to display the garment of your body with which He has clothed you, Be jeweled with luminous faculties like the eye, the ear, the reason, and the heart, and the embroideries of his most beautiful names, Al Asma Al Husna. All glory's maker makes you revolve amid numerous states and changes you in many situations. Just as you learn, just, I thought, just as you learn of his name of provider through hunger, Mughni, Ar-Razzaq, provider, gives you sustenance. Just as you learn of his name of provider, Ar-Razzaq, through hunger, so come to know his name of healer, Shafi'ah, through your illness. Because every condition Allah puts you in is actually a condition to manifest certain names and attributes. Esma ve sıfatının tecellisi. You're sick, you have to be sick so that Ism Shafi, the healer, can show itself. That's what manifest mean. So you're hungry, you have to be hungry. So when you receive sustenance, when you receive food, you say, Ar-Razzaq, Allah is giving me sustenance. So every condition you're going through in your life is actually a precondition for certain divine names and attributes to show themselves. Since suffering and calamities show the decrease of some of his names, many instances of good are to be found within those flashes of wisdom and rays of mercy. If the veil of illness which you fear and loathe, most people do, they curse when they are ill, they complain, they see illness as something bad, were to be lifted, behind it, you would find many agreeable and meaningful, beautiful meanings. So we have covered only four. And as the text says, there are 25. Normally, this takes a series of lectures. But the idea of the first season was to give you a bit of a taster to the general audience uh, so that they say, oh, this Risale-i sounds very interesting. We should dive deep into this. So this is just an appetizer. This is just a mini uh, canopy, if I may say that. There are 21 more. Hopefully, we might schedule further lectures in the future to cover the rest of them. But in the meantime, this has been the 25th flush, and I'm following it from erisale.com. You can easily go to navigation. These are the red ones are the books. You go into the flushes and you scroll down to 25th, and that is where it is. So if you want to carry on reading the remaining 21 remedies, beautiful, beautiful stuff. It helps you psychologically as well. So, but I'll stop here because we are running out of time. Thank you for your time. And if you're interested, we're going to have one more lesson next month and we're going to wrap up season one.